Hello VC. So I'm doing the vinyl tag. I'm late to the game. David Atkinson started this for 2026. Yeah, check out this channel. So the task is about 20 something questions that I'm going through, and I'm going to grab some records from my collection and talk a bit about them. So here we go. First question. Show your best vinyl or other musical purchase of 2025. I showed this in another video. It's the Jeff Tweedy Twilight Override album. My best purchase because it's such an excellent release, a great triple album, and it sounds terrific. So that's my pick for my favorite purchase of 2025. Highly recommended. Share your favorite live musical experience of 2025. For me, that was the Chameleons. As a Chameleons fan, it was a special thing to see them in Oslo at a show for the first time. Yeah, I thought about the magnetic fields, which I got to see the entire 69 love songs with my friends during 2 nights. So second place for the magnetic fields. But for me, I will remember that the Chameleons concert for a long time. Next question. Your vinyl collection in 10 years time, is it bigger, smaller, or about the same? Explain why. Most certainly it's bigger. If not anything tragic happens. So my collection isn't very big. Started collecting around pandemic times, and if I had 10 more years, it should probably double the size, I think. It's the way she goes. I don't sell anything. I buy around 40 vinyls each year, a lot of new stuff as well. So yeah, it probably will continue to grow, and I will have to find more space. Yeah. You move into a new home, you play one record, turn up to 11 to announce your arrival. What is it and why? So I grabbed this. The Vipers. Is This Real? So just a cool punk rock record that inspired a lot of bands that you know, Nirvana and Downset Jr. and bands like that from that era. Yeah, check out the track Wait a Minute. So I wouldn't normally disturb the neighbors on purpose, but that's the question, and that's my pick. Show 2 albums, one of each of your favorite male and female singers. Why these 2? So, because it said singer, I thought about, great singers, and maybe not vocalists. So, for me, a singer, I thought about Scott Walker, a unique voice, excellent singer, of course, great phrasing and a lot of emotion. And yeah, Scott Walker has been an important artist for me, so he's my pick for the male artist. And for a female, just because I'm a Mitski fan. So of course, also a lot of emotion, and she has dynamic range and a beautiful voice. There's rumors now that might be an 2026 album, so I'm looking forward to that. We like to have fun here. Show top 3 soul and dance records. So I don't collect soul or dance, so I try to do my best based on what I have in my collection. So for nod to the soul genre, not maybe at this period, but the guy dabbles more and more in soul. It's Gary Clark. So if I were to check out soul, I would listen to more of his newest stuff, which I have enjoyed. For the dance record, of course I could have brought out New Order stuff, but I picked this. It's Screamadelica by Primal Scream. You probably know it. So it's a very innovative stuff that blends a lot of elements from gospels and house, and it's guitar based, rock based, but all these things, and it's highly danceable stuff. So that's my pick for a dance record. A real stinker. Nominate a track you hate from an album you love. Why the hate? I thought instantly of a Television Personalities album. So they can do odd songs a lot of times on records, but especially this one is a terrific album up to that song, and I'm glad that's the closer on this album because I can turn it off. So it's the track Back to Vietnam on the 1984 album The Painted World. It's a terrific album that I enjoy very much, but that Back to Vietnam song is quite unlistenable. If it's an anti-Vietnam song, I guess it's 10-15 years late on this record. Yeah, it's just cheesy, annoying sound effects, and it's not something I'd enjoy listening to at all. So, if you were to pick one album from each of the last 6 decades, what would they be? Starting from the 60s. So the 60s, for me, would be The Velvet Underground and Nico. It's the ultimate 60s album. Yeah, I like better than other obvious contenders, Pet Sounds and any Beatles record. I think it's so consistently great. All the tracks, they are wonderful from start to finish. This album it's a masterpiece. A highly influential album, of course. So that's my pick for the 60s record. For the 70s record, it was a bit more difficult because I had a dilemma. Do I pick Unknown Pleasures or do I pick the number 1 record? For now, I ended up choosing Big Stars, number 1 record, which had been an important record for me. Of course, Unknown Pleasures has been as well, but it just brings me so much happiness. And when I think of a 70s record, I think of this, and yeah, can't go wrong with Big Star and Alex Chilton and Chris Spell's songs and solo albums, and yeah. For the 80s record, that was even more difficult. I thought about Rob Spear, Velvet Basement by the Jacobites. I thought about Avalane's album called Bird Dog and Chameleon's Strange Days. But this is the album I've known about the longest since I was a teenager. A very important record to me. Not making an excuse for picking this. It's Galaxy 500 on Fire. Beautiful record. Can't recommend it enough. I wonder how many times I've listened to this. I'm still interested in the releases when they release the rarities and the live albums, and yeah, I dig it. 90s. This has a lot because I grew up in the 90s and discovered music, and there was Radiohead and Pumpkins, and that Neutral Milk Hotel record was my favorite for a while. But when I think back, the one that started the 90s, sort of, My Bloody Valentine's Loveless is a perfect record. Yeah, I think it's the one that holds up the best, and the one I enjoy the most putting on from that era. Sometimes I think Isn't Anything is actually cooler than this album because of the crazy drumming and stuff. But you can't fault Loveless either way. And this is a 90s record. Isn't Anything is from the 80s. My pick for the 90s record. Is this really the best album from the 2000s? I think it is. It's Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights. At least it's a very important record for me. when I turned 16. It was one of the first proper shows I went to on this tour, probably. Yeah, suddenly there was a new band that could sound as cool as Joy Division and stuff, and yeah, I love it. Of course, there's other records in the 2000s to mention. The Microphones one I thought of, Songs for Hire, stuff like that. But I think Interpol is really the one that comes to mind from that period. And Tens. Maybe for some another indie rock band from that period. There was a lot of cool stuff. Some second wave of indie rock bands, like, you know, with Deer Hunter and Bradford Cox and a lot of bands. This was the one who stood out for me. Public Strain by Women. I completely obsessed over this album. Hauntingly beautiful stuff. Yeah, it got me back into playing guitar and jazz masters, and if you haven't heard it, just check it out. It's really a cool album to check out that maybe not everyone has heard. Next question. You get the opportunity to spend a day alone with one artist, walking a mountain trail, the beach, or hanging out in the city. Who would that artist be? I think someone else answered this, and it's not a bad answer. I would pick to hang out with Lawrence, known from Felt and stuff. Yeah, I will just hang out with him. He can show me around in London, show me bookstores and record shops, and the next follow-up question is, what would you ask him? Don't really have an answer. I would just ask him what music he's into and who he would hang out with, maybe. Yeah, Lawrence. Show a record that contains a track that always brings a tear to the eye, or are you a heartless bastard? I'm an emotional guy, I guess. So I instantly thought of a track on this Elliott Smith album. Yeah, remember getting this after he had died, you know, he committed suicide apparently. Remember the day coming home from school, reading in NME what had happened. And there's a track on this album called King's Crossing. So this was released, as I probably said, after his death. And there's a moment on King's Crossing, I think his sister or someone who was close to him added a little detail on the song. So he sings, give me one reason not to do it, probably referring to what's to come, and you can hear his sister, I think, sing, or she added on, because we love you. And if there's a moment that just thinking about it, that would be it. And it's an excellent track otherwise, one of my favorites. So a very special album. Next question. Show 3 albums from artists you try to love. But you question why you bother. My guy is Nick Cave. So there, of course, it's goodbye subscribers. Of course he has stuff that I like, you know, Staggy Lee and back in the day. But what annoys me is every time when Nick releases an album, everyone's raving, and they probably get it, of course, but when I listen, production is nice, there's a lot of rambling and stuff, and where's the melodies? I don't connect, and it sounds preachy, and yeah, I try every time, and I give up every time with Nick Cave, so I just don't gel with Nick Cave anymore. And I've tried. Next question is, show an album from an artist whose character disappoints you, or can you separate the artist from the art? I find that sometimes now it gets more and more difficult to separate the artist from the art, you know, Woody Allen and stuff it's not happening anymore. And this guy is an obvious answer. I think a lot of people answered Morrissey, the militant vegan. So he can say what he likes and all that, but he made some comments about the terror attack in Oslo in 2011. He called Chinese people subhumans, so obviously a racist kind of a guy. So Morrissey disappoints me, yeah. I would root for Morrissey, but I don't like him. The Smiths, of course. This is a little in-joke for any Norwegian viewer. I don't usually defile art or stuff like that, but a little nod to Morrissey. Next question is, if you had to sell all your vinyl along with a record player, show the one album you would hold on to as a keepsake. This album is not like it has very sentimental value for me. I see a lot of people talk about the stories around getting albums and stuff. I just try to be smart with this pick. So it's Robert Wyatt's Rock Bottom, which is where I would be if I had to lose all the records and start again. Nonetheless, it's a very fascinating album, worth checking out. He got paralyzed, before creating this, waking up in the hospital, hearing all this music in his head, and he created this one. So it's, of course, proggy and experimental and strange and sometimes difficult and fascinating. And I think if you like the more jazzier Radiohead, I'm sure this inspired them. And it's a kind of a cult status type of an album, so worth checking out. Next question. Discuss your VC highlight of 2025. If that's a video, link to it, but it could be a meetup or some event. So I just started this channel for no reason other than talking about music or creating something, and haven't met anybody. Not really. I don't really know anyone in the community. So but I can say I've enjoyed various VC videos throughout the year. The pickup hauls and around the record store day, of course, there's a lot of great content and the best of the year's lists. So in general is my answer. Name your favorite musical biopic if you have one. A lot of people answer this, and for me as well, it's Control, the biopic about Joy Division and Ian Curtis, by Anthony Corbin, who was actually a young band photographer. He photographed Joy Division when he was a kid. Probably a lot of pictures you've seen of the band. And at a much later stage, directed a film about them, and it's a wonderful, beautiful film. So that's my pick. I could also shout out 24-Hour Party People, which I saw when my Joy Division interest peaked, I guess. So that's about the Factory Records and a lot more bands than Joy Division, but could also be one of my picks, and it's actually a very funny film. Give 3 reasons why jazz matters and show a favorite album. Of course, brilliant musicians, a lot of innovation, improvisation. It's a very pure musical expression, and great recordings. So of course, jazz is important. I'm not really a jazz guy. I don't collect a lot of jazz, but maybe that will change, My favorite jazz album for the moment is Charles Mingus, The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. It's completely out there, So when I listen to jazz or try to check out jazz, I don't want the typical stuff, and this is sure not typical stuff. It's quite stunning. It's scary. It's actually mind blowing, the compositions. And so if you're interested in checking out jazz and don't know where to start, maybe don't start with this. Maybe warm up with Miles and I Love Supreme and get to this. Yeah, so it's from 63 and yeah, highly recommended to check out. You're innocent man on death row. They give you one last musical request. What would you ask for? You can't go wrong with Echo and the Bunnymen. Any album will do. So I would ask them to turn up Echo and the Bunnymen loud, and I can enjoy my last moments on Earth with the Echo and the Bunnymen. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. Sell your favorite artist to a new listener, show one essential album, and explain why they should make time for it. I picked John Cale, and the reason is I've only scratched the surface before of his back catalog. I've been listening a lot to his newer solo albums, actually, and of course, heard songs that I love from his solo career, but I haven't really dug into all his solo records. And it's been such a treat to do so. Starting last year, started at his first solo album and working my way through the discography. I was not aware of the quality of the solo records, so truly, in my head, underrated, and he deserves more praise, and it's very well worth digging into his stuff if you haven't. Maybe start with this album, Paris 1919, which is a very beautiful, folksy album. But he has a lot of varied stuff, you know, spanning through his 60 decades career. So it's a lot of innovation and different stuff. Truly an artist, this guy, John Cale. Okay, maybe this question is not that relevant for me, but you're arranging a VC meetup in 2026, excluding those you already met. I haven't met anybody. Invite 3 people you'd like to meet the most. Yeah, I'm new to this, but I guess I can give some shoutouts. So, Embryonic Robots. As we spoke about Cale, he has made some excellent videos about John Cale. When I went through his discography, I kind of referred back to his videos for each album. Terrific stuff. So check out his channel. Lost Mixtapes. I watched a few videos now recently about that he made about the replacements. Also good stuff. Seems like a knowledgeable guy. And also I enjoy the videos from the Vinyl Policeman. He seems to have good taste, and I enjoyed this vinyl tag that he did recently. So that's some shoutouts, and I'm through the questions here now. So that's it for my vinyl tag. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like. I'd appreciate it, and Happy New Year.